Good morning, Vancouver. It's January 24th, 2013. I'm Steve Ferguson, and from the Pollinate Studio, this is Terminal City News. A new report by Demographia has found that Vancouver ranks as the second most unaffordable city to live in the world. The report primarily looks at the median housing prices in over 300 markets and the median household income. And while the average is usually around a home costing 3 times your annual income, Vancouver's ranks at 9.5 times. Only Hong Kong at 13.5 times is worse than us. What's the cause, you're asking? Well, I for one might point out the much lauded foreign investment in real estate, the refusal of the government to keep minimum wage at a livable level, and the mass conspiracy to demolish major centers of job creation and replace them with condos. I'm looking at you, Station Square. When I contacted the BC Liberals office in Victoria regarding this article, my questions were only met with answers like, "Sorry, what's the issue?" followed by evil giggling and what sounded like $100 bills being used to light cigars. Hold on, aren't they plastic now? Speaking of the BC Liberals, for the first time since November of 2011, they are polling at over 30% support. The NDP is still sitting comfortably at 46%, so I wouldn't quite get worried yet. Still, I'm really perplexed as to the recent rise in their popularity, but I guess those government-sponsored recall clinics are really starting to pay off after all. Gateway Casino's plan to build a casino resort in South Surrey White Rock was struck down by City Council as a result of last week's protests. Mayor Diane Watts clearly wants to keep her job as mayor, what with all the listening to her constituents and not bowing to pressure from big business. Who does she think she is? Mike Miller, a 70-year-old man from Ucluelet, was told by the government that he was allowed to keep his pet deer after all, even though it is against the law to keep Indigenous wildlife as pets. The conditions were that he work in conjunction with the veterinarian and conservation officers, to keep the animal healthy. I would really encourage you all to read the articles about this guy. He's described as a hoarder. He talks about how the deer kisses him like a man kisses a woman. And while one of the reporters was at his residence, the deer ate a cigarette off his couch. I'm not even joking here. So did the government decide to let him keep the deer because it has this nicotine addiction? Gary Golay, a Squamish man living on disability and pension, won the 649 this past week with a total of $3.3 million. Now, he based his winning numbers, and I'm not even joking about this, off of the date his pet poodle died. He's expected to cash in really big when his horse dies. The Monster Jam Maple Leaf Tour is set to come to BC Place this weekend. With all the giant monster truck car crushing goodness South Surrey residents have come to enjoy. The event is expected to pull in some insane numbers, so grab your tickets while you can. I'm betting if Christy Clark came in driving one of those big beasts and then crushed a car marked NDP in big orange letters, she might see another 0.05% rise in popularity. Come on, Christy, it's worth a shot. The Paramount Strip Club in downtown New Westminster has found itself in the center of a protest by Coquitlam High School students late last week. The students from Dr. Charles Best Secondary are taking a social justice course and are targeting the business for its objectification of women. And while it's a dialogue that should certainly be held, business owner Stephen Montfort, who has an awesome name, objects that no dialogue was even started with him, and he's being unfairly harassed. He notes that he's been an excellent tenant at the property, and he provides jobs for many people, and even a dance school inside. Well, we here at Terminal City News have some more suggestions for protests the students can get behind. 1. HMV for selling rap albums that demean women and glorify the drug trade. 2. Marble Slab Creamery for contributing to our nation's obesity problem. 3. Coast Capital Credit Union for being a part of that evil banking system. 4. Save on Meats for implicitly excluding vegans. And finally, NSHG Films for slandering students of Dr. Charles Best Secondary School. That's all the news we have for you this week, Vancouver. Check back next week when I cover President Obama's second inaugural speech live. Wait, it already happened?